que tudo, um sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
Eric Stang, Billy Hong, I say
Hong, yep,
Hong,
Hong.
Billy Hong, Immortal Choke, Ninja Stang. Everybody has these cool nicknames. I've got a fucking podcast. I don't have a cool nickname.
But you have like a really unique name.
It just kind of rolls off the tongue like Clint, Cronin
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, I sound like I'm friends with Peter Parker is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I might be something Stan Lee came up with and was like, nah, there's enough people in the Fantastic Four.
Too many on the Justice League.
Yeah,
Yeah, your last name actually sounds really superhero.
right? It sounds like I would be good at saving people and stuff, but nope, not in any sort of cartoon. But Eric Stang is in a cartoon, and you have a cartoon. So like this is a really random story, and it was told briefly in some Instagram comments, which, while I'm sure caught the eyes of at least dozens to hundreds, I feel like we could reach more people with this story because it's pretty cool. It's really random, right? So I've got this podcast, and I've got this student friend training partner, Eric Stang over here, and he's been telling me for months now, like hey, there's this cartoon, and he'd tell me the joke, like the punchline, but I didn't see it, or it's hard to translate a cartoon to verbally. And then I started looking at your stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy follows me on Instagram. That's where I've heard that before. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, is your birthday, right?
On Saturday. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I see, at Ninja Stang tagged, and he's in a cartoon on Immortal Choke. And I'm like, what the random. So how did first of all, I want to circle back to this. What made you get started doing this jiu-jitsu cartoon thing? I mean, every gym kind of has those archetypes, like those characters. We're very cartoonish, just jiu-jitsu players in general. So, I mean, like, well, what inspired you to come up with this thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stereotypes I feel like in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like a culmination of so many different types of people. Like you got CrossFit people, you have tech people in banking. Like I feel like very few other fields have as diverse of a set of people coming in. And I mean, I love stereotypes. I've done comics for a really long time, ever since 5th grade, I can remember. And like you were saying, it's hard to explain some of these comics verbally, but they make sense when you see them. So growing up, I was kind of the opposite in that, like, I couldn't express myself very well verbally. So some of my friends were like class clowns and stuff, right? I felt like I was more of a class clown on paper. And I liked the fact that I could do these jokes and draw them, and all eyes would be on the paper, not me, because I was actually a really shy kid. So I had just been doing comics forever, and did some in college for the school paper. And then after that, when I moved to San Francisco, I started doing a webcomic just about stuff on my life, just highlights. One example being I would go to yoga, and beforehand I needed to pee really bad. So I went to the bathroom, I opened it, and there was a girl in there with the lights off, taking a dump. And so I just try to capture like moments like that, right? It's not stuff that like you really think about too hard, but it happens. So jiu-jitsu was the same way. I think we all go in there, and first and foremost, like, you're trying not to die, and you're dealing with like cardio and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I try to capture that dialogue that happens, and I think that's why it relates to people.
Yeah, not dying is definitely a big one.
Yeah.
I saw one. You use pretzels a lot. So one was like a human pretzel or a ninja pretzel. Like what was the term you guys had on there?
Oh, that one. So lethal pretzel.
A lethal pretzel.
That one goes a little ways back. It was one of the comics I had. I'm trying to remember. It was like all these different sports have really cool fight names, like Hands of Steel for boxing, or MMA is like Pitbull. So I was like, well, jiu-jitsu, what do we have? Lethal pretzel.
Yeah, we have that. We have a bunch of guys that have like very similar, like the same nickname. like a lot of the Brazilians, right? So that, I mean, how many pit bulls are there? And I mean, there's jujitsu pit bulls, there's MMA pit bulls, right? Half Gracie's also a pit bull,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tiago Alves or Tiago Silva? One of those is also a pit
One of them is
bull.
a pit bull.
Yeah, so there's lots of those.
There's lots of cyborgs too.
There's lots of cyborgs. There was, a married couple, but now it's just one, I guess. And I don't know if the ex-husband still fights, but those are both cyborgs. There's cyborg from Florida, right? From American Top Team, Abreu.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely the lethal pretzel would be, like really aggressive taffy. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to come up with like mean octopus, or
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of stuck with just a really awkward,
like
amoeba.
squid of doom. I don't know. I'll have to circle back. We'll come up with some really good jujitsu nicknames.
Or it's even like one of those like old school Stretch Armstrong toys that like they're like really stiff and then all of a sudden they're pliable and you can bend them around, but they look like this big strong dude, but he just bends and he's made of rubber.
Yeah, like Stretch Armstrong or somebody that doesn't tap when you have them in an arm lock or something. Do you have a cartoon for people that don't tap when they're being choked or anything?
Oh, I think I have one for that. I think I'm gonna be doing a new one though, because like at my current gym, there's actually a lot of wrestlers in high school. So between the ages of like 14, 18, and those dudes are just so full of testosterone, but they're flexible. So, they never tap and
Very wiry.
yeah, super wiry.
Yeah, this whole next generation of kids and wrestlers and jiu-jitsu players, they're going to be so much, well, they're already so much better than us, just genetics alone, and then they have so much more information that's correct just right out of the gate. So I mean, if you have parents that are already jiu-jitsu practitioners, already MMA guys, or even fans, you get the kids in it young and early, I mean, they're going to be little monsters. It's just right out of the gate. We have Mark Heinzner. His kid's like 6 years old. He's sponsored by, the whole family is sponsored by Show Your Roll. The little girl is 6 years old and she's won every single tournament. She like tears it up. She's like 6 and she's sponsored by Show Your Roll. And not like because of the family. She was sponsored before the father and the sibling were. Like every time there's a tournament with kids, she wins all the medals. It's ridiculous. She's like a little checkmat, whatever. And it's not like, oh, that's cute. It's a kid that's going out there and doing kid jujitsu. Like she's actually good at jujitsu. And when she becomes an adult, if she doesn't hate it by then, like what was that kid Hercules? He was a bodybuilder kid, and now they did a documentary or a follow-up video. Now he hates weightlifting.
Oh wow.
What was his name? Little Hercules or something?
Yeah, I remember seeing that. He had like 6-pack abs and like back muscles for days.
Yeah, now he works at SeaWorld and skateboards and stuff. Like he thinks bodybuilding's gross. It's funny.
Is his body messed up from that?
No, he looks like someone his age should look. He's just a teenage kid now.
Some of it just kind of like dropped off a bit.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell they were feeding him or shooting him up with. Yeah, allegedly. But yeah, he looks normal now. Just a skinny, fat teenage kid that skateboards and works at SeaWorld or some shit. So how long have you been training?
I've been training consistently for about 2 years now. And well, when I first moved to San Francisco about 6 or 7 years ago, that's when I actually started jiu-jitsu. But I think like most people, it was kind of just a thing on the side, because my main thing was powerlifting. Both my brothers compete in powerlifting. So that was my main thing. And I just thought, you're doing like super static, like very controlled movements all the time. I just want to do something where I can cut loose a little bit. Just kind of have that feeling of, I guess, being on like a jungle gym or something again.
Right on.
So my gym had some jiu-jitsu and I would just pop in if I had, some extra time, and I wasn't training super consistent then, just a couple weeks on, a few months off, that type of thing. But I picked it up again once I moved to Sunnyvale. So I started training at Smash gyms, and that's where I started going like 2-3 times a week consistently for the past 2 years.
And that's Michael Jen, or?
Yeah, under Michael Jen.
Cool. Yeah, they've opened quite a few. What they have 3 locations in Sunnyvale or something like that now.
Yeah,
or-
one in Sunnyvale, one in San Jose, and one in Milpitas.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we have some of their students come through every once in a while. We're talking about it offline earlier. We have, I guess, an exchange program with some of the local gyms. So it works out. I think they pay an extra $10 a month, and they can go, to AKA Sunnyvale, or they can go to some CrossFit gyms or yoga studios and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm actually the designer for that group for the Social Fitness Network.
Oh, cool. So it's your thing.
Yeah.
Cool. So Alex and from AKA Sunnyvale and all that.
Yeah, I haven't met a whole lot of people, but actually, funny story. Before I came on doing design work for them, I actually went to one of your classes.
Oh, cool.
Of using the SFN. It was one of the 6 a.m. classes.
Very cool.
And you probably don't remember, but I think it was about a year ago. It was like right after I got my blue belt.
Nice.
I was like, I want to try some other gyms. So I went to your 6 a.m. class, and I think I saw Jason Yago.
Yeah.
Jason would be there, yeah, for sure.
And a few other guys. But actually, I remember that class vividly because the technique you taught, that's 2 of them, I still use right now.
Yay.
It was like they have you in butterfly, and then you hug both of the legs, and you jump to side control.
The butterfly bridge pass.
Yeah, so I still use that like
Nice.
yeah, almost every time. And then the other one was knee on belly to far side armbar. Still use that.
Very
So stuck with me, man.
Very cool. Yeah, it's all bread and butter stuff. Just
If you kept coming, he shows all kinds of different crazy stuff. It's just brutal chokes and crushes and shoulder locks.
Yeah, I really liked it. And then I also went to some of the open mats, I think on Fridays or something. And I did roll with Tyler Shu, who was on
nice.
the last show, right?
Yeah. He just killed it on Fight to Win. He won his match. So
So cool. I think he was a blue belt at the time. I just remember him I was like, man, this guy's like a soccer ball. He just moves around like so smooth.
yeah, it's crazy. There are people that get into jiu-jitsu and you first meet them and they first train and everything. You're like, oh, this is a tough guy, but how long is he going to stay? 'Cause he used to fall asleep in class all the time, which is crazy.
I think he still does sometimes.
I thought he was narcoleptic, and I'm like, they gave this kid a driver's license. What the hell is this? But apparently he would have a lot of trouble sleeping at night, so he just wouldn't sleep, and so during the day he'd be exhausted. And, Mike would be sitting there teaching the technique of the day, Prudencio, and Tyler would be just unconscious, sitting there like upright, with good posture, but just out, because he'd be like, okay, come stand on this side and see the arm bar from this other angle, and Tyler would just be there by himself with his head tilted to the side, just like out. So I'm like, I don't know. They gave this guy a car. It's kind of weird. If I see that car out there, I'm gonna get that. I'm not gonna drive anywhere near it. And now he's a purple belt, and he doesn't fall asleep in class anymore. And he just he won his Fight to Win pro debut, and he kills it at tournaments.
Yeah, he's been doing really
awesome.
well.
Yeah, he's tough. He's always at open mat, so I'm always plugging the One World Open mat on Sunday nights. We get like 60 people plus. It's pretty crazy. And for women that are thinking about trying jiu-jitsu or that don't have a lot of other female training partners, there's a good 10 to 12 that just show up. It's not even a click or anything. They just all randomly show up.
Actually, another weird story about that. So I follow you on Instagram. So sometimes you do like the live story at One World. So I saw one of yours, and then in the background I saw one of my female friends from Smash.
Oh, cool.
And then she posted something, and you were in the back of hers.
Yeah. What is it called? What was the movie about the dreams where it's like not transference, but where was it?
Like Inception.
Inception. It was like an Inception thing. It's like you see yourself in the mirror. So, anyway, it's like having 2 mirrors back to back, cascading effect. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that.
But yeah, if you're ever in the area on Sundays, 6 p.m., it's open mat. Pretty much just don't bring an ego, wear a clean gi, and
have
a positive attitude.
Yeah, please wear a clean gi. I mean, I'm pretty sure you wear clean gis. I'm saying like to the world,
Just everyone,
to the world,
Just me.
at large.
The Ronin warriors.
Clean gis are amazing. I never got the whole people not washing their gi or belt. I heard the old school judo thing. If you wash your belt, the technique falls off or something. It's like
I still know some people that don't wash their belt. So.
I totally do. It's funny. We're like jujitsu. I saw this as a meme somewhere, and I'm gonna be butchering it, but it was something like jujitsu, where this art where it's the most practical and functional, and we only use the stuff that works and is the most efficient. But then jujitsu, if you wash your belt, your technique falls off. Like we're still superstitious, even though we're supposed to be the most like mechanically inclined or the most scientific of all the martial arts, allegedly, according to people that do jiu-jitsu and not other things. So
I just wonder if those smelly gi people, do they not smell it on themselves, or like are they desensitized to it?
Because they just like leave it in their bag and it just kind of smells like them or something.
It's just so powerful sometimes.
Yeah,
I'd say there's probably a whole different a different thing for each person. I think there's the archetype of the person that is just maybe like a naturalist, and they're like, no, the funk is how it's supposed to be. You guys are weird. That's one, and no, you're weird. Two is someone that might not be aware, maybe a cigarette smoker or something like that, or someone with whatever sort of hygiene habits. Maybe they just don't know. I think there's
not brushing your teeth before training, that kind of thing.
Yeah, wash the feet, wash the butt. Make sure that undercarriage is spick and span, good to go. No one wants to be in a funky triangle. It's not.
I think some people might only have like maybe one gi or something like that. They can't really afford multiple gis, perhaps, and. I don't know. I always find time to wash my gi, even if I only have one or two, and then throw it up in front of a fan, let it, dry off really quickly. That way I'm not shrinking it in the dryer. But I don't know. Just even if you only have one gi, just wash it, man, because nobody wants to smell you. People are going to start avoiding you during training.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many ways to not smell bad. There's only one way to do it wrong. I'll do things like I'll have a clean gi that stays in the car. It's just that's car gi, and if I forgot one, it's there. That there's car belt and there's car gi. You can leave one at the office. They're not expensive anymore. You can go somewhere like BJJ HQ, and you know what? If you wear an A3, just hit me up. I've got a bunch of extras. As long as you promise to wash it every time you train, just hit me up. I got plenty of extra gis. I'm not even kidding. If you're the smelly gi guy, you can have a gi. And
sometimes some gyms even have like loaner gis. So sometimes all you have to do is ask like, "Hey, sorry, I don't have a clean gi today. Do you guys happen to have an extra one that I can borrow and wash later?" And I'm always willing to loan out one of my own personal gis. I keep one in my trunk too, just in case. So.
Yeah, don't be smelly guy or person, smelly person. Got to be equal opportunists when we're talking about people smelling, because it's not just dudes.
No, it can be everybody.
Everyone can smell,
and you don't want people to be able to recognize you before even seeing you.
Yeah, it's like you walk in the gym, you're like, oh, so and so's here.
Yep.
It's like, what? You mean your name isn't Foot and Ass?
The force is strong with this one.
Like you shouldn't be, known as what you smell like. It's like, oh, it's that guy. It smells terrible.
So I could be wrong about this, but do you have a book coming out soon? Or
yeah, so that's the plan. I'm still kind of settling on what the right amount of comics to include in that book is, but yeah, it's almost ready to go. I'm just putting together some bonus content in there, and I want to keep it like an ongoing thing. Just have all the comics be available for print. And I think one of my dreams would be like I could go to some random jiu-jitsu gym and just see it like on a coffee table.
Yeah, I think one of my students was actually talking about trying to print it out, and she wanted me to autograph it, which is kind of funny. But it's just crazy how all this kind of kick-started. Like, just from my perspective, I wake up getting ready for the 6:30 class, and 6:30 in the morning, and I'm doing my morning duties. I'm scrolling through Instagram, and like randomly one of your comics pops up, and I think the first one that I saw was like, it's like a teacher and the student, and the student's like, what am I doing wrong? And the teacher's just, everything. And I died laughing, and it just immediately reminded me of like just me personally training with my own teachers, like, you know, having that same question, then they just kind of have that same look of like, you're just doing everything wrong. And then like, you know, me being a teacher, having students do the same thing. And it's even the 6:30 class, you know, like we have a couple students that he's even actually asked that, what am I doing wrong? And it's like literally everything. You're just stop what you're doing. But yeah, they're golden. So, I mean, if whoever's listening out there, if you guys haven't heard of this guy, Immortal Choke on Instagram, follow him, check him out. It's gold.
How did you find out about it, actually?
I was just, there was a period where I was kind of expanding a little bit on my own art. I think I was like, you know, following different like watercolor crafts and stuff like that. And then it just randomly popped up in my feed one day, and as soon as I saw the first one, I just like went over to your page and started scrolling through it and spent probably an hour just looking at all the comics. And I was like, this guy is amazing. And then, yeah, you're on, is it Patreon?
Yeah, on Patreon. Yeah.
So yeah. And you're on Patreon too, aren't you?
I think so. I've not really plugged it because I didn't really know what to ask people for. Like, yeah, if people want to support either project, definitely do. Immortal Choke on Patreon, right?
Yep. Patreon.com/Immortal Choke.
And I'm pretty sure mine's either Clint Cronin or Clint Cronin Show. But yeah, this thing doesn't produce itself, guys. So you know, feel free. I need to put. So yours is all done. You have the different levels on there, like arm bar, and then different stuff like that. So I need to actually get on there and put down bonus content for this or that, the other thing. One of yours is cool. Where a special fan or fans can be immortalized by being part of an Immortal Choke comic strip, a character, right?
Yep. So every level, there's some form of that. And the smallest one, I'll just design you as a Immortal Choke character. And then the next one is where I can actually put you as a character in the comic. Nice. So Stang actually has both of those. You have the regular just character design coming. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you do that, like if I pick you, then I'll ask for reference photos and all that stuff. So it's actually kind of funny when I asked Stang for it. The first one he sent was like, I don't think it was even a jiu-jitsu photo. It was just like, use this one because my hair looks great.
He's like, have you seen my cartoons?
If you see my cartoon, you'll know my hair looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you sent more jiu-jitsu ones after that.
A couple of me laying down, looking pretty.
But yeah, your last name was really unique, and I think I try to collect like any other information, about your life or your jiu-jitsu. It helps me draw the characters, and then I think you mentioned that you and your family have bees, mm-hmm. and you sell honey.
Yep.
So I was like, this dude's name is Stang, and it's like he sells honey.
It's kind of crazy how that happened too, because I wasn't born into a family line of apiarists or beekeepers. Just one day, my dad, kind of hanging around the house, there was this neighbor guy that'd come by and they'd shoot the shit. Sorry if I'm not allowed to swear.
No, it's the internet. You can say anything you want.
All right. But they're just talking, how older gentlemen do. And he's like, hey, why don't you come check out my apiaries and help me with it? And so my dad kind of got into it as a hobby at first. And after a while, he used his construction background to like just kind of, start doing side gigs here and there, building people hive boxes to, then he started doing extractions out of people's houses where you like cut out a wall or the ceiling and pull out the hive and put it in a hive box. And from there, it just kind of kickstarted into a business. And so now we're a small family-owned business. We extract all of our own hives, strain it once to get rid of beeswax and bees parts. But, that way you don't suck down some honey and get a little stinger in your mouth or whatever. But some people like that kind of thing. They'll chew on the wax. They'll eat bee larvae or chew on the propolis. And I mean, it has a lot of lot of healing benefits too. Like you could, besides just tasting great, you could, slap honey on a wound and it'll clean it up. I find that it actually works really well for like staph infection. So for anybody that happens to have anything out there, wash it really well with like some tea tree oil soap, clean it out with hydrogen peroxide, and then cover it up with raw honey. And, after about a week, you should be good. You don't
Really?
need any kind of like antibiotics or anything like that from the doctor.
Hey, that's
But
your business
I'm not a
plan right
doctor,
there.
so don't,
Yeah.
it's an experiment.
It's like in the wake of a podcast episode, 6 people are now dead with bee stings and staph infections.
Yeah.
More on this later.
It's dead covered in honey.
Exactly. It's like, well, on top of being dead, you'll also be delicious. So it's like,
Hopefully no one's allergic to honey, but
it's really good honey, actually. I enjoy. I've got some right over there actually still. Yeah, it's you have what was the post on Facebook the other day? It's like, come to the One World Jiu Jitsu on 10:30 a.m. 5 days a week, and it's like you called it one thing, and then I called it like the Wu Stang clan or something, kill bees or something.
I've actually really liked that fits so well, the Wu Stang clan. But I was just basically saying, find out what all the buzz is about.
Yeah, that's it.
Friday, 10:30 to 7. I'm sorry, 10:30 to 12:30. I got my own little ninja army growing back there, and they're steady growing from like one individual. Now I've got like a steady 6-7 individuals that are pretty consistent, and some of them are insane, man. They even injured, they're on the mats. They don't care. They just want to learn, and I appreciate those kind of individuals because it makes me feel appreciated as a teacher. But anyways, back to the whole strip. It was just like, don't get stung, get stang, come make train. So it was just trying to get everyone out there, trying to get as many people to come train with us as possible.
It's time to start
trying to throw in a little rhyme in there, trying to throw my own name out there, because even with the bee business, what I kind of, when I was making the logo for my dad, I was like, I need something, a little catchphrase, like, don't get stung, get stang. It's like, why hasn't anyone thought of that? It's like, I'm going with that right there. And so figured I'd throw a little cheap plug into my little Instagram post, hopefully get my family's name out there a little bit. Maybe someone will buy some honey. My mom makes homemade products with all the beeswax. So, we try to use as much of it as possible. We're not just throwing this stuff to the side and wasting it. So she makes candles, lotions, all kinds of different stuff.
She makes some jiu-jitsu honey stuff, man. Jiu-jitsu honey soap or something.
No, I should tell her that. I tell her tea tree oils a lot. That helps a lot with just general cleaning, smelling good.
Hey, there's the stinky gee guy. Problem solved.
He needs that tea tree oil.
Yeah.
So I've been using white vinegar as my like additive, but if I know tea tree oil is a thing, then I'll do that for sure. I don't know.
Yeah, that, and I think like eucalyptus oils or something like that. All good stuff, and it makes you smell good too, a little minty fresh.
Just picture koala chasing you down, like, give me fucking ghee. It's mine.
Actually, have you guys seen there's like a video on YouTube of 2 koalas grappling?
No.
They have like pretty good technique.
I like watching cats grapple. That's because I have 2 cats at home, and just watching them fight, like my mom's always yelling at them to stop. It's like, no, just let them go.
Let them
It's
work
like,
it
oh,
out.
look, he's got a guillotine. Oh, he passed the guard. They're doing crazy stuff. They're flipping over each other. But anytime you watch 2 animals just go at it, you can always kind of just apply jiu-jitsu to it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. I always see, these videos, of people like on YouTube, or Facebook, I guess it's as much, where there's a cat falling off of something, like, the cat will get scared and fall, or I've never seen the cat actually fall. Like, they always land on their feet. Like that, the whole thing they say about that, but or people like they sneak up on the cat, and the cat falls and like kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah, you stick the piece of toast on there right on its back, so it just like does the infinity loop.
Yeah,
You try to drop it on its back, but because Toast always falls face down, but a cat always lands on its feet, so it just like sits there spinning in space.
What were people putting next to cats, like the pickles or something?
Yeah, I guess cats think that pickles are snakes.
So they freak out at pickles.
Yeah.
Is it cucumbers or just pickles?
Yeah, what about a cucumber?
Probably cucumbers
or
too.
zucchini.
Yeah.
He's like looking at the zucchini like, I know this one. It's taken centuries, but we figured out you're not a snake. Sees the pickle, it's like, ah.
I've even tried a banana, just like throw a banana down at my cat's feet. He just kind of sniffs it and looks at me like I'm stupid.
And no, we know. Eons ago, we defeated the bananas in battle. Man, yeah. Sorry about the dog drinking water sound earlier. There's usually not any canines here at the studio. However, today there is one. I'm taking a dog for a test drive.
It's a beautiful dog too.
It's an awesome dog.
Just like share it in front of the camera, just like, hey, check out this dog.
She's really heavy.
She's buff. She looks
jacked.
almost
She's
exactly
jacked
like
dog
Clint,
I've
to be
seen.
honest.
She's so jacked. It's hilarious. She's a little coffee table.
Gotta watch out for USADA on this dog.
I know. No, I'm sure she failed miserably. It's like, I don't know. She's like TRT Vitor dog, but yeah, it's an American bully. It's like the happiest dog. It looks like a pit bull on a rhinoceros's body. I guess is what you want. Like, or I don't know. It has this J-Lo thing when it walks. Like its hips, its hips actually sway. It's really funny. But no, it's a really cool dog. The owner's like, just take him home or take her home. See how it goes. Like see how like she adapts, and then if you want to take her. So I'm not giving this dog back. I'm keeping this dog. This dog's dope.
So far, she's very well mannered.
Yeah, she
seems protective, but not like overly so. Where it's like you put a hand on the owner, and all of a sudden it's just like going in crazy.
I didn't know she barked at first. It took like a whole day before she barked even a little bit.
Yeah, she does not like cats. So if you're a cat owner, she will bark at you.
Yeah, I don't. She seems to know what a squirrel is. So, squirrels out in the yard. Watch your back. Because I know there's lots of squirrels in the fucking backyard subscribing to the podcast and stuff. But see, that's the problem. The more squirrels subscribe, they know. Watch their back. Dog coming.
They're all dead.
They just need a little linoleum, though.
I know she was afraid of the linoleum floor. She wouldn't she stood on the outside looking in. So there's a sliding glass door in the back, and she stood there on the back patio just staring at the floor she couldn't. Just like losing her shit. Like I don't know what to do. And about 2 hours later, she was fine. Once she realized the food was on linoleum, and that's how to get there when you're hungry, she eventually was just like, screw it, I'm gonna walk on the linoleum. But I guess some dogs are afraid of like slippery floors or shiny floors, something like that. There'll be like some sort of visual boundary, like a line in the floor, and they won't cross it, or they'll jump over it instead of just like a crack in the sidewalk kind of thing. So I don't know, she's a little weirdo, but it's a cool dog.
How long have you had her now?
Oh, she's been here like a day, literally one day. So yeah, she already decided she lives here. She's kicking it.
Yeah, she's definitely made herself at home.
Yeah, yesterday she was real nervous, and today she's not at all. Pretty sure she has like some mail being delivered here already. Like, she's already called the post office. So I think I saw a cell phone bill for her, and I haven't checked the mail yet. But on the way in, I thought I saw her name on a cell phone bill. Making herself at home. Oh, man. So there's this obnoxious monitor on my table. it's can you tell this is a Black Friday deal?
The monitor?
Yeah. It was unnecessary. I thought I'd get this really wide monitor, and it would help with video editing, because that was clearly the problem.
It's super wide.
It's very wide. It's cool for Final Cut Pro if you're good at Final Cut Pro. Otherwise, it's just a really big monitor.
Really, really wide monitor.
It's really wide, yeah.
It looks like as normal, height-wise, but it's just, the whole span of the table.
It's a kitchen table with, I think 34-inch wide monitor. Totally unnecessary.
About 20 inches tall.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary. But it was on Black Friday, like sale, and it's that, what is that website called? Slick Deals.
Oh yeah, Slick Deals and Mass Drop or something.
Oh yeah, so I saw it on there, and it actually had pretty good. The resolution was good and all this stuff. So I'm like, yeah, that'll help with the podcast. That'll help with editing videos. Not well, it's better than doing it on a 15-inch laptop, but yeah, it's like a whole. You have to turn your head all the way from left to right. It's like a whole neck exercise to see the whole thing.
Or you just have to sit like 10 feet away.
Yeah, it looks like real life is just distorted slightly. Like when you stretch a photo really wide and everything, like you make someone look fat that isn't fat. It's like that. Like you took a regular monitor and just really
Just pulling on the cheeks a little bit.
Exactly. Like now you're fat. Sorry, I'm not trying to fat shame monitors or anything.
So besides like training and comics, is that like the main things that you do, or do you happen to have like any extra?
Yeah, I think for me it can't be just those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reason why I'm into jiu-jitsu, but I can't become super obsessed with it. Just with all the hobbies in my life, I need something to balance out the other stuff. So my day job is doing design. If I hit a rut in design, I'll go do video editing. If I hit a rut in video editing, I'll go to the comics or whatever. But that's kind of what kept me balanced. But also, you can pull a lot of inspiration from other fields. I really don't like the idea of kind of siloing yourself off and just kind of going down that rabbit hole. Eventually it just becomes really monotonous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have lots of different sort of chains. You can go down like, I'll do some of this stuff. I mean, I still do work in tech. I do the podcast. I train. I wish I was I need to actually practice the video editing stuff more. I'm into it. I'm just the artistic side. I feel like jiu-jitsu is my art, which is it's not exactly paint to paper or anything like that, but if I had to sit down and draw a picture, you wouldn't know what I was drawing.
It would just feel like a white belt all over again, just in a completely different field.
Oh, it would look like a child with like severe head trauma was trying to communicate somehow with a picture. I'm not good at art.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like you definitely need something else besides just like your day job and just training. Because then you just kind of start to almost hate it. You love it, but at the same time, it's just like day in, day out, same thing. Whatever you might do, whether you're training or teaching. But if you can like mix it up in some way, somehow, and, do some other stuff, even if it's like another martial art, like, Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll do boxing and stuff. And even that like helps shake things up a little bit. And
yeah, I think it helps keep my perspective kind of wide too, because it's like what I was saying before, right? In jiu-jitsu, when you just keep going on that same track, you kind of start to lose sight of that dialogue that happens underneath. But every time you do something else and come back to it, then it's less ignorable.
You're a little bit more refreshed.
Yeah. And I mean, these days too, I don't just like look at jiu-jitsu Instagrams for inspiration and stuff like that outside of class. I actually follow a lot of different comics on Instagram, and I think like right now is such a good time to be following them because the platform is amazing for comics, and you're seeing a lot of this where they're not super polished. Some people they do like watercolor on Post-it notes, or it's just doodled on napkins and stuff. I mean, that's how my thing started too. I'll just doodle it on a piece of paper and just take an iPhone picture of it. But like Eat My Paint is a really good one.
That's an Instagram handle?
It's an Instagram comic, and his whole thing is he does it with Microsoft Paint.
Oh, cool.
But he draws like these insane facial expressions, and it's all about like a lot of kind of like office stuff, but also there's a character in it where it's like this really childish dad who's just like punking his son all the time, or just fucking with his son basically. And then there's this other one I follow. There's a lot of people who like work at Cartoon Network and stuff, and they just do these little comics on the side on Instagram. A really good one is Sketch Shark. It's like about this shark with like a really nice butt.
What?
You just have to look at it. If I describe it anymore, it just gonna sound like I have like a fish fetish or something.
No, you'll be fine. Keep going.
Yeah, so it's like a really smooth butt and so plump. But yeah, so like it's such a good platform for getting inspiration, just like way out there stuff, and the ideas people are coming up with it's just crazy. And Adventure Time is something that really inspired like my style,
Right
and
on.
a little bit of the humor too. It's kind of like a little bit surreal sometimes, but not too like over the top slapstick, you know.
So, are you a comic book guy as well, or?
Not really, but my older brother is.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I think if you guys talk, probably just
Yeah, I don't want to say wasted because I enjoyed my time, but I've probably spent a lot of my life reading comic books. I don't collect them; they accumulate because I read them. So, yeah, I need to get rid of a bunch. I think I'm gonna go to the library and just drop some off like here because they're not worth anything. I mean, their paper's probably worth something, right? Sorry, Earth, but I love comic books, so just the artwork style and stuff like that. So from the writing to the art, so I would always, my favorite part of the morning would be my parents would have the newspaper. They'd be reading some whatever boring shit. I'm in my 30s. I still like the newspaper, but I like the funnies. I like Garfield. I like Peanuts. Like I like that stuff.
Boondocks.
Yeah. All that type of artwork and stuff. I always thought was funny. So I'd sit there and I'd read the back of my box of Cheerios over and over and over, and that's not that fun. I didn't get like the cool cereals that had actual like cartoons in the back. Like apparently the Frosted Flakes guy, you're greeted with a cartoon tiger. I was greeted with no such tiger. I got fucking Cheerios, and not the one with the cartoon bee.
no bee.
Just the one with fiber. There's just fiber, and that's not a cartoon or funny.
Abusive childhood, man.
Yeah, they fed me and gave me a place to live. So they're good. I don't know. I saw that show. Have you seen Shameless on Showtime?
No, not yet.
It's so depressing. It's like Married with Children on steroids times 10 and adjusted for Jerry Springer 2017.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a UK version and a US version because of course there is. And the US version anyway is it's supposed to be like a dark comedy, but by season 8 it's just fucking depressing. I don't know. It's zany and off the wall, but it's still like I got sad watching it last night. I'm like, man, I just want to pay their bills for them or something.
So is it supposed to be a comedy? Or?
It's supposed to be funny. There's funny parts.
So it's like dark humor.
Yeah, like William H. Macy's in it, and he's the absentee father that's, and then the mom, nobody knows where they are, and there's like 6 kids living in, I think, a suburb of Detroit or Chicago or something. It's the South Side, it's hood, and there's always something hood and crazy going on, like 6 different things. It's on Showtime, and or wherever you would stream something like that, like the Showtime Now app or similar. Wink, wink, don't pirate stuff. Just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, shows these days are getting really dark and really violent. Like Ozark and Punisher. I just finished watching Punisher.
Yeah.
So violent.
Yeah, that character's always been a dick, though. Like,
Is that pretty true to the comic? Like how they...
all of them are, pretty true. I mean, that, what is that John Barenthal that plays?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a badass, and he's a fan of the character as well. Yeah, I liked him a lot on Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just seeing him pick up that role, I think he's pretty close. I mean, as close as you're getting. Better than, what was the guy from, that played Punisher in the movies?
I forgot his name, but I know who you're talking about. He's got like the square jaw.
Yeah. I prefer. He was on that show Hung on HBO. I prefer John Barenthal. Thought they're doing pretty good. I think they're doing pretty good, rather.
Did comics actually lead you to Jiu Jitsu in some way?
No, the Karate Kid movie, and then
Oh, really?
then 1980s pro wrestling led me to Jiu Jitsu, man. It would like Bret the Hitman Hart or something like that. Pro wrestling definitely did, because that watching pro wrestling in the 80s and early 90s and stuff led me to finding the UFC, because the neighbors had a Scrambler, and allegedly we were able to watch the pay-per-view channel without, whatever. Maybe they paid, I don't know.
I think we had that too, actually. I remember watching a bunch of Royal Rumbles. We definitely didn't pay for that.
Yeah, so instead of like WWF, their Survivor Series, one night it was like a Saturday or whatever the hell day it was like UFC 1 or 2, and that was Jiu Jitsu. Some dude in his pajamas fighting some dude in trunks or whatever.
Some
spandex, and they were actually hitting each other. And then, that's sort of where I became aware of jiu-jitsu. I was a terrible wrestler in like intermediate school. I was bad at judo in junior college and college. So like in around 2005, I started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu because I finally lived in an area where they had it. They had a Half Gracie in Mountain View, and I'm like, well, if I can't learn me some jiu-jitsu there, there ain't no hope for me. And they kindly beat the crap out of me for a few months, and then that was my start for jiu-jitsu, really. But yeah, comic books, I don't know. Everything that I was into as a kid was not cool when I was a kid. Pro wrestling, I mean, to a lot of people, is never going to be cool, but it had its boom in the late 90s, where like it was a household thing and it was cool, at least to some kids. Skateboarding was not cool when I was into it. Comic books were, kids got beat up for that shit when I was a kid. And now it's like this big pop culture thing now that I'm old, and whatever, but where it doesn't really matter if what you like is popular or not, because you're old, and it doesn't matter. You're old. Who gives a shit? Just like whatever you like. But yeah, when I mattered and I was a fragile preteen or something, yeah, none of that shit was cool then. But now it's, we're all old. Who gives a fuck?
How about you? What sparked you to get involved into jiu-jitsu?
I think I was kind of fascinated by how variable it was. To me, it felt like it's kind of like a big video game, and everyone who goes in has their own set of attributes, their body types, and because of that, you have your own set of moves. So I thought that was just like really fascinating to me. And like as you progress, it's kind of like getting achievements. It's like, oh, okay, now I can do this move or that move.
You got your blue belt.
Yeah, or like I can't do these moves because my legs are stubby and short. Or so yeah, it feels a lot like a real life video game to me.
It's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised I haven't really thought of it that way, because I used to play video games all the time growing up.
Well, it makes sense, right? Like how many nerds or just hardcore gamers do you know, like, who train jiu-jitsu? Like, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the appeal comes in, right? There's just so many different moves, and it's constantly evolving.
It would seem like no matter how real or realistic you could make the gameplay world of a video game, there hasn't really been an effective grappling video game yet, because I'd say jiu-jitsu is way more variable than a video game. Like, think of the control system and the type of controller you need to actually be able to express a series of moves, or like a sequence of moves, or something that you could do in jiu-jitsu. I mean, not even like really advanced stuff, but just transitioning to a few different things, and then a minor tweak to where you're putting your weight or what angle you're using. Like, think of a control system you would need to do that, and how sophisticated it would have to be. It's
just like smashing on the B button, or spinning the stick as fast as possible and getting blisters in your palm.
Come on, Honda, move your hands faster.
I was actually thinking about like a button mashing version of this though the other day, because do you guys play like did you play old Nintendo games and stuff like that?
Yeah, I
for sure.
You familiar with River City Ransom, Crash and the Boys? It was kind of like It was like a spoof of Double Dragon.
Okay.
The like characters are like really crude, just like short and fat. But I was thinking that it'd be so cool to do a game like that where it's jiu-jitsu. Like, you can throw arm bars and triangles and stuff like that. It's always like, oh, I'm in high school and the captain of the football team stole my girlfriend, and I gotta beat up all the different like groups in my high school to get to her.
And then face off with the team captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, have you guys seen that the Karate Kid video or whatever, where they switch it around, they make it seem like Daniel-san's like the villain?
No.
Yeah, it's that, and they show in the beginning, they walk you through when they're at the beach the first time that Daniel encounters the bully is like his nemesis, you know, the and then his ex-girlfriend's there, and they're having the girlfriend and the boyfriend are having a heated argument, and arguably he shouldn't have taken whatever out of her hand, but then Daniel comes and involves himself, and this as like it shows him basically being the one that's the aggressor in the whole thing, and they're making pretty valid points. They're like, yeah, actually he did attack him, huh? Yeah, it's funny. Like they turned Daniel into the villain just by just narrating it, not even changing the dialogue or what happens to the movie at all. They're just like, yeah, he's clearly the bad guy.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because that was one of my childhood films. Just like always growing up with like martial arts or ninja movies, and that's kind of what sparked me to get involved in martial arts, was to just be a ninja myself. And there's not a whole lot of ninja academies in the Bay Area, so this is probably the next best thing, coupled with some Muay Thai or kickboxing.
I wonder if there is was it ninjutsu or something?
I think there might be one somewhere in San Francisco or something like that, and then some other random place.
I just remember seeing something on, it was like the science of combat or one of those shows.
Oh, like the human weapon or...
Yeah, and they're like jumping on poles, and I know they have like a cyanide powder or something that they blow in people's faces.
What?
That's awesome.
Because I mean, they were assassins, right?
We're
Most
gonna
of them.
teach you this technique, but you might not survive.
Yeah, we do it once.
You better pay attention.
It's like, it looks like we're gonna need another Timmy. And, was it on dinosaurs, right? Where it was like the Mr. Wizard version on the. You guys remember that show on Fox back in the day, Dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like he would have the Mr. Wizard guy, and he's like, okay, we just need you to help me with this experiment. Just hold right here. And then the kid would die. Like, we need another Timmy.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was like the Kenny back in the day.
That was the original Kenny.
Yeah.
It was OG Kenny. And
It was all played out like Sesame Street meets like Married with Children. It was very interesting.
on TGIF with what was it, like Full House, Urkel, Dinosaurs, and what, Step by Step or something, or
Alf or something.
Alf. Oh, Alf was tremendous.
MASH.
Alf was underrated. Dude, MASH had such a following. The theme song to MASH is so depressing. Like, Google the lyrics to that. It's about suicide. Yeah, it's really depressing. But whoa, 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 whoa. There you go.
Yeah, my dad used to watch that show. I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah.
No, I like Cheers. I didn't like MASH. Stuff like that. So, are you training on the strip anymore, or just heading on back to Reno?
Yep, just heading on back to Reno.
Heading on back.
I'll be here probably once a month, so I'll try to hit up that One World open mat, because usually I fly in like Sunday morning.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
6 p.m.
Yeah, it goes pretty late. A lot of people show up. It's a good time. Everyone's welcome. There's no drop-in fee, nothing like that. Any belt, any affiliation, any gym, you're always welcome. I mean, you design the damn programs. You're always welcome over at AKA Sunny Valley. We're there 6:30 a.m. just about every darn day of the week, doing something.
Man, I was dying after that 6:30 a.m. though. I can't get on board with that early life.
Yeah, a lot of people can't do that, but I find like after like the first 2 weeks or so, you kind of get over waking up at 6. But anytime we take like long breaks or something, it's always kind of rough coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was traveling like quite a bit for the show, and then I came back and it was like 6 in the morning. Oh, we're still doing this. All right, let's do it. All right.
Yeah, still at it.
I just remember my alarm waking me up one day, and I'm on the beach or something, Miami Beach, and this alarm goes off, and I'm like, not today, sir, not today.
Yeah, Yeah, it's actually scare the crap out of me sometimes on vacation. It's like all of a sudden it just goes off at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, what's going on? It's like, oh no, I'm supposed to be getting up for training right now. No, turn that one off.
This week's been fun. I've been teaching with one MCL, so I got the referral over there. I got to go see an orthopedic, whatever the hell it is, and get physical therapy. I partially tore my left MCL on last Sunday, which was great. That was my fault though. I screwed up. I slipped. I wish it was something cool like, yeah, I got heel hooked in the main event and blah blah blah. No, I slipped. I was just, my foot found itself a nice like sweaty patch of mat, and yeah, because I weigh 110 pounds or whatever, I fell like very gracefully to the ground and caught myself like a cat, those cat-like reflexes. Hey.
Yeah, your knee definitely did not go the opposite way from the rest of your body or anything.
No, it totally did. It twisted around 3 times like a pretzel, like a really shitty human pretzel. Knees are the worst. It's the worst design ever. It's like the shoulder. It's like the shoulder of the South. Yeah. It only works efficiently in exactly one position in one pose. Like, you remember old school action figures from the 90s or 80s where they'd have one joint? The elbows didn't move, but maybe just the arms did like this.
Weren't they attached by like rubber bands?
Yeah.
They're like the old G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
Well, at least they have that. Some of them were just, just plastic screwed into plastic, and it would just go up and down. Then eventually that action figure would wear out, and that arm would just spin freely.
Like it pop off completely.
Yeah, like it needed rotator cuff surgery. Need to go to the action figure ER.
You try to stick it back in, but it's popped out too many times. It just falls out. There's nothing holding it in.
Yeah, you don't want to be the dude with the, Macho Man Randy Savage action figure with a glued-on arm.
Yeah.
Or like the Ninja Turtle ones. They didn't bend much.
It's definitely protect yourself.
Were you guys Ninja Turtle fans?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yep. I like the Turtles. So.
Well, you have to be, right? Because Ninja Stang.
Ninja Turtles. Liked a lot of different animes, different games, But you always watch a movie and they're always kind of portrayed in this kind of, I don't know, it's just super cliche almost, or
shitty.
Yeah,
they're shitty.
Just bad.
So if you live in the Bay Area, you know how it's pleasant 99% of the time weather-wise until that 1% where it's fucking hot and no one really has AC. A couple people do. I know somebody that does. Like, I don't know. I have one of those portable gimmicks, but I don't have central air in my house. You don't usually need it. I have trees. It's just nice. But then it was just stupid hot. And it was so bad one night, I just decided I'm just going to go to the movies and I'm just going to go just watch whatever's out. And nothing was out except the latest Ninja Turtle movie.
They kind of seem like they've actually been kind of going downhill a little bit, or at least in terms of the graphics, or how they make them look.
Did you guys hear that?
That wasn't your phone?
I don't think so. No.
Was it my phone?
It was a really cool anime ringtone, though. We owe somebody a beer.
Oh yeah, I just got a missed call.
Okay, that was you.
I'll call him back.
Oh, is that the new iPhone?
That's probably my car.
Oh, that's right.
It's all right.
So
I'll call him back.
So you're actually the Renaissance man. Now you're doing the artwork, you're doing the jiu-jitsu, an accomplished ballroom salsa dancer as well. Right?
Yeah.
That's it's magic. It's underrated. A lot of guys out there that have trouble talking to girls or meeting women. I'm telling you,
It helps.
go
It helps a lot.
salsa dancing. The confidence it builds, like the icebreaker. It's the ultimate icebreaker to be able to that I think. I'm telling you, go learn it. I did it in college, and I'm so glad. It taught me so much.
Yeah, you were actually the one that actually inspired me to go out and do it, because growing up, you probably wouldn't have caught me dead dancing, or at least.
I would have got made fun of. My parents would have made fun of me.
Yeah, I'm the worst dancer, but at the beginning of this year, I was like, whatever. I'll go out, step outside of my comfort zone, give it a try. Looked horrible. I saw some videos of myself from like the first couple days, and it was just like, who is this guy? And he just looks like a giant box or like a tin man with no oil. I'm just like, moving like the robot. And, next thing I know, 6 months later, I'm doing performances with my team. And that's actually where I ended up meeting my girlfriend, was in salsa. So
Boom.
There it is.
Right
Not
there.
just anecdotal.
Yeah,
That's
we're not just
evidence.
bullshitting you, blowing smoke up your ass. You'll meet somebody.
Your asses are smoke free, guys. Smoke free asses.
How long was it before you got comfortable? Because I feel like I'm kind of in that uncomfortable still zone.
I still feel like I'm a little uncomfortable, but it definitely took a little while. I'm sure everyone's a little bit different depending on what kind of background you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are kind of just born with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah, maybe it's Maybelline.
Sorry.
But definitely a couple months. Over time, like after the first month, you even notice a huge difference depending on how much you're actually training. Like if you're only doing one day, it's kind of like Jiu Jitsu. How much are you actually retaining? Stuff like that. Your body's not used to these kind of mechanics, like, moving opposites, moving your one shoulder forward while moving the other shoulder backwards, stuff like that.
Right. 'Cause my dad was trying to get me into it. He's like a dancing freak now. Just in the past like 5 or 6 years, he just got into it.
It's great cardio,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
I sweat my ass off every time I go. But
Yeah, he like blows off most of our family like on Fridays and Saturdays just so he can go dance with like some old people. But
so you think they're old people. He's really dancing with some spicy people.
But yeah, he got super into it. But like my dad's one of those guys who he just is always really good at everything he tries, and it's just like he doesn't talk about it either. Like it was only I think 3 years ago I found out he's a judo black belt, and he just never talked about it. Like back in Vietnam, he was competing and all this stuff, and he just pulled up a picture of him like throwing somebody. It's like, oh yeah, I have a judo black belt.
I'm surprised he hasn't tried to get you involved in the art or something. Myself, I would definitely try to get my kids involved in jiu-jitsu. Not try to force them or anything, but
I don't know. He just kind of keeps to himself with that stuff.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I'm sure if I have a kid, he'll like teach him everything.
But yeah, I mean, even from me being super awkward, like I'd say within even like 2-3 months of actually giving it an effort, you'll start feeling comfortable.
Is it like DDR? Because I can DDR my ass off.
No, definitely not. Like just even down to musicality, finding off, like sometimes I'll have to like blindfold myself so I can hear like each instrument and try to move to that particular instrument. And, there's so many times where it's like you think you're dancing right to the song, and all of a sudden it changes tempo to either faster or quicker, or I'm sorry, slower, or all of a sudden like the tone goes up and it's just like hit, and you just stop for like a couple seconds. And so the more you listen to the music and the more you kind of practice it, the more you kind of develop that kind of musicality for like where you can actually step to the notes. So whereas like DDR, you're kind of just like moving your feet super quick, looking like you're doing a jig or something.
It's in my blood.
Yeah. But I feel like it's definitely helped my jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways too. Not just meeting somebody or getting myself to be a little bit more comfortable and outgoing. It's
the flow and the movement too.
The footwork. Even being relaxed. Like so many people I train with or teach, they're so tight, tense, and you just gotta relax and let it go sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely helps with balance.
Yeah.
A big piece of it is for the guys is to be a strong lead, but it doesn't mean like kind of doing the caveman thing. You have to be like strong but confident. It's like firm but soft.
Yeah, firm but gentle.
You got to frame. The trick is framing. It means nothing if you haven't actually done this before, but yeah, guys, if your girl's getting on you to take her dancing. If you don't have a girl or you have problems talking to women, there's free salsa dancing classes at like every place that the places where they have the social dances usually a free class beforehand, and there's schools in every city in the damn country or world probably that offer classes. I recommend it. It'll help your jiu-jitsu. It'll help your life. It'll be cool.
I feel like
You'll
I
have fun.
see dance studios more often than like jujitsu
Oh,
or
yeah.
martial arts studios. So.
Well, there's more people that dance than do
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. We're in a niche. Everyone dances.
You should have no problem finding, a dance studio at all.
Don't be a wallflower.
And
Right.
I mean, if you do happen to have a lady, take that chance to learn something new with her, and
Or dude. If you have a dude.
yeah, or if you have a dude, get him to stop being such a robot.
Yeah. It's be non-robotical together. 'Cause that's a word. It's not. There's no robotical. Man, we've been at it about an hour right now. I think this is the part where we summarize. So again, Billy Hung, Immortal Choke. He's got comic strips. He has a book coming out. He has a Patreon, and if you became a patron and contributed to his awesome artwork, you can be immortalized and either just drawn as or be included in one of his featured designs there. That's patreon.com/immortalchoke. Did I plug that correctly?
You did.
I did.
Yeah, you can be like Stang right here too.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can.
looking good in a comic.
Yeah, great hair.
Because I definitely don't look that good in person. Trust me.
So he used to have this beard, this goatee, and this thing. Not like that. This is okay still. This thing was gnarly, and he shaved it, and I was like, why didn't you just do that to begin with? Like, yeah, this guy has a nice face. He's not a bad looking dude, but he had this. It was oh my
It was
god.
down to my sternum.
Oh, it was braided. It
down
was
here.
so bad.
Yeah, and I used to
Those
braid
ZZ
it
Top.
into like this little rat tail.
Oh, it was so bad.
In my mind, it was this strong like Viking beard. That's how they always like depict in like games or movies. This strong thick braid. But then I look in the mirror, and it's like this. It's like, this is not good. We should probably get rid of this.
Yeah, he shaved it.
Shaved it completely, and then regrew it out and started playing with it a little bit. Tried growing out my mustache for a little bit, and every now and then I'll get irritated by it because you can't eat soup or anything. Take a bite and just mouthful of hair every time.
Looks tough, man. I don't think I'll ever be able to relate.
Well,
I can barely
you'd
grow
be
stubble.
surprised. It takes a little patience, but I think with enough patience, everybody should be able to grow a beard. It might look a little patchy at first. There's definitely an ugly period, but you gotta stick with it, just like jiu-jitsu.
That's it.
Beard growing in jiu-jitsu.
There's going to be a patchy period. It might be ugly for a little bit, but you'll hit those triangles.
And just like your belt, instead of not washing your belt, just grow a beard, and it'll all store right in that beard.
You need one of those inspirational jiu-jitsu photos with that quote.
Yeah, just wash everything. Wash it often.
Yeah.
Just wash stuff.
Don't just wash yourself. Wash your gear.
And if you smell that bad, burn it. And get yourself a nice new one at wantversusneed.com. That's right, want versus need. No. No, seriously, buy their geese are really nice. Anyway, that's all we have for you this week, folks. Be sure and follow Stang at ninja.stang on Instagram. Immortal Choke for Billy there on Instagram as well. He's on Facebook. He's on Patreon. I'm on Patreon too, but I haven't really set anything up yet. But if you want to just go ahead and send me some Bitcoin, I'll do whatever you want. I'll record lots of new stuff for you. I don't know.
Show off the dog.
I'll show off the dog. Oh yeah, the dog will be on Instagram soon. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Please share, like, subscribe, all that other things that you say on YouTube and Instagrams. And I'll probably have cut this off already. Thanks for listening and watching. There we go.